welcome to my pottery shop. Most potters were men. There is a pottery shop in each community. What colonist pottery was made for useful purposes. Potters used clay to build their kitchen supplies. Clay was very fine, smooth, earth-formed, and tiny bits of rocks. Colonists liked pottery because it was practical, inexpensive, and easy to replace. Most colonist houses would have in their house is a bean pots, pie plates, cake molds, bowls, water jugs, pitchers,
Molasses
jugs, pudding dishes, storage jars, oyster jars, which the potter which I made. I would use clay to make the pottery. I would find the clay from swamps and streams. It was by my house too. The potter was I was useful in the colonies since I was primitive, remote places. I used reddish, brownish, or grayish clay for my pottery work. Clay was dried, broken into smaller pieces by grinding it down, then washed. Potters worked with wet clay. I worked with wet clay to prevent cracking. My hands were easy to hit my craftsmanship. I used pressure on my pottery to make the wheel spin. I would put my finished items on a drying board. Once they were dried, I would pound it with a special board. I would cut it into wedge-shaped pieces. I would clap pieces together to get rid of bubbles. I would knead the clay. I would place a lump of clay in the wheel and went back to work for my mining the pieces. My potter's wheel was a circular work table that moved around in a central point. Peg in its underside fitted into a hole in largest tables, two circular wooden boards connected by an axe that would pass through a stationary table. My tools were a clay beater used to pound the clay. I would have a clay cutter used to cut the clay. I would have a
clay cutter or college
wheel used to add decoration to the pottery. Incisionary used to make lines. Slip cut used to decorate pottery. Could draw birds, flowers, wavy lines, or geometrical designs on pieces. Glazed was last step before beginning fire in kiln. Pottery baking over dried items were placed in the kiln for 1 to 3 days. A hard coating or glaze added so the item leak proof. Items would cool for 1 to 2 days. Then Burged had the potters. I would put my foot on the wheel and my wheel would spin and I would put my hands on it and it would make a shape, what I wanted. Then I could turn it into a bowl and then I would put it on my drying board and then I would put it in my kiln, and then I would leave it for 1 to 3 days, and then I would take it out, and then I would let it dry for 1 to 2 days, and then I would put it on my shelf so people, the colonists in my town, could buy them. And that is my job.
Bye.
Bye.